Hello, Lead STEM Academy, seventh grade parents and guardians. This is your child's counselor, Mr. Sear, and I wanted to take a few moments to speak to you directly about seventh grade and your seventh grader and what's to come in eighth grade. I hope I have some information that you'll find helpful as we come to the end of seventh grade. I really wish that I had come up with this idea at the beginning of the school year. I think you might have found this helpful in like August or September, but this is where we are. So perhaps this will help ease you into the last month of seventh grade. And if you have a seventh grader coming up next year, you can watch this video and maybe it'll help you then. All right, so let's get started. There are challenges to seventh grade. I think it's no great mystery that seventh grade can be a challenge. Um, and I have some thoughts as to why that is. So if you think about it, seventh graders are the middle children of the middle school, literally. They are too old to be treated like sixth graders, and they're too young to be given the deference of eighth graders. So oftentimes they're not quite sure where they fit in. And sometimes that can lead to behaviors, that can lead to frustration, that can lead to a drop in grades. Um, another reason, another challenge that seventh graders face is hormones. I'm not a doctor, but we all know that preteens and teens have hormones raging inside them, and their bodies go through all kinds of changes, and they may not quite understand what's going on, and they may get embarrassed, or they may get scared, or they may get uncomfortable. Another challenge to seventh grade can be social pressure. I do believe that the social pressure increases from sixth to seventh grade. In sixth grade, they're still learning about each other. Many of them are coming from the same elementary school. So, they're continuing friendships that they had in fifth grade, maybe. But in seventh grade, things can go off the rails. And one of the reasons is because, they feel pressure. They feel more pressure in seventh grade than they did in sixth grade. They want to fit in. They want to find friends. They want to get those likes on social media. They want to get people to laugh in class. Or they just want to do their thing. So that can cause some challenges in seventh grade. And finally, grades can be a challenge, of course. Now, I have several seventh graders who are taking high school credit courses. So this is the first time in their lives that they're taking a class with a grade that's going to follow them to high school. It's going to be on their high school transcript. So that can cause a great deal of pressure, which is also a challenge for seventh grade. Okay. Now let's talk about Lead STEM Academy itself. We've got unique sets of challenges here at Lead. One of them is that we operate at an accelerated pace. There's no such thing as a non-accelerated class here at Lead STEM Academy. Because of that, all of our staff has high expectations for our students. We have a great population of high achieving students. I have a wonderful selection of high achieving students in the seventh grade, and that can present its own set of challenges. And finally, we as a middle school give our students more autonomy than your typical middle school. I mean, if you think about nav time, students here get to choose their lunches. That doesn't happen at most middle schools that I'm aware of. So those are some aspects of our school that are unique and make us awesome, but they can also, create some challenges or difficulties for our students. Now, it can get better. It usually does. When students get to eighth grade, there are often big changes. And by changes, mostly positive changes. And here's what I mean by that. They're growing up. Okay. There's a big difference between seventh grade, like the summer of seventh grade, and the start of eighth grade. I've been doing this for 20 years. I can tell you that that happens. Okay. So because they are a little bit more mature, they take things a little bit more seriously. I mentioned earlier that the seventh graders are trying to find their identity. Many of our eighth graders have found their identity or have found an identity that they're comfortable with. So they're not as into getting those likes and getting those people to laugh in class. They want to focus on what's coming next, which brings me to my next point, which is high school. Yeah, in eighth grade, they hear all about high school. They hear it from their teachers and they hear it from me. getting ready for high school. And I'm sure they hear it from you too. Um, they're getting ready for high school. And so with a focus on high school, they can become a little bit more serious. So my point is things can improve in eighth grade, and they usually do. Okay, now let's hear from some eighth grade teachers. Mr. Romzek is one of our architecture, construction, and technology teachers. He's actually the eighth grade teacher for architecture, construction, and technology. He teaches eighth graders, building engineers one and two. And he is a big proponent of failing forward. He talks about that with his students all the time. He wants his students to grow through challenges. He wants his students to understand that mistakes equal progress. Okay. Yes, mistakes can be frustrating, but if you flip the script, if you change your outlook, you can say, okay, this didn't go so well. What did I learn from that? And what am I going to do differently next time? Mr. Romzek wants his students to focus on effort over perfection. Yes, many of our high achieving students, many of our students here at LEAD are perfectionists for themselves. Mr. Romzek doesn't want them to put that kind of pressure on themselves. Maybe they are perfect. Okay, fantastic. But maybe they're not, and that's okay. All right, as long as they're learning about themselves. Um, and learning is not supposed to be easy. They're going to get challenged next year. Okay. Some of those challenges are going to be fun. Some of those challenges are going to be frustrating for them. But that's part of the game. That's part of education. It's not supposed to be easy. We don't want them to give up like many of my seventh graders told me this year. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. You may have heard the same thing at home. No, no, give it a try. Okay, that's what Mr. Romzek wants his students to do. And finally, keep moving forward. Failure's not the end. Okay, you learn from your mistakes. Okay, next, Miss Castellano. She teaches eighth graders Algebra 1 and media production. And she's looking forward to a partnership in education with you and your students. She encourages her students to have accountability for themselves. That means they have to check their email. They have to go on Infinite Campus. They have to read Canvas, okay, so that they know what's going on in the classroom. She wants her students to speak up for themselves. We all want our students to speak up for themselves. But specifically, like in a math class, it's really important if the students are struggling, they let the teacher know before they get to the assessment, okay? Because then she can help them get ready for that assessment and they may not have to take the retake. But if it doesn't go well for them, Ms. Castellano encourages her students, sign up for nav times and take those retakes. And finally, time management is a big part of eighth grade. And this is not just a Ms. Castellanos class, but she really focuses on this. And she encourages her students to get a physical or digital agenda or planner. It's not something that's required here at LEAD, but it is encouraged by Ms. Castellano. Okay. And they need to be aware of their due dates. Make a list, write it down. I talk to kids about that all the time and seek that sense of accomplishment. Okay, Miss Rawls is an eighth grade English teacher, and she's looking forward to partnership and literacy. Literacy is a big focus in English 8. Okay, she wants to be a partner with you. So her key focus areas are encouraging active reading. Make sure the kiddos are reading even if they're not in school. Okay, writing growth. Oftentimes, when they find out they have to write something, they groan. She wants them to be open to the writing process and figuring out which type of writing they really enjoy, because maybe they don't like writing stories but they like writing poems, and maybe they don't like writing poems but they like writing plays. That's part of writing growth. Her classroom is big on discussion and expression, so students need to be ready to defend what they write, discuss what they write, discuss what their classmates have written. Okay, and she wants her students to have consistent habits, and we all do. Mrs. Rawls is always available. She says, don't hesitate to email me. Okay. So with that, we've come to the end of this presentation. I hope that you found this helpful. There's about one and a half months left of the school year as I'm recording this. I hope it goes smoothly for you. If the year with your seventh grader has gone smoothly so far, fantastic. Then you don't have to really listen to what I had to say. But if you found some challenges, and I know I've spoken to many parents, and for them, seventh grade has been a challenge. I hope this helps make it a little smoother for you as we end the school year and move on to eighth grade. And we'll be together again next year. So I'm always an email away if you have questions. Have a wonderful last month of school, and I'll talk to you soon.